And I have to say, because I did a little bit of time at Marion, and not in the actual prison aspect, but the other side of the gate, I guess. And the women are way worse. Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Way worse.
They're like catty, right? They're kind of like bitchy, and that's even worse.
They're Florida women.
Like, well, because, and in Ocala, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like, oh, shit.
So also, like, Lowell, if I'm not mistaken, Lowell is the biggest women's prison in the country.
Oh, wow.
And there's like serial
sense.
killers there. There is like all kinds of just bad people. But the difference is, like, the inmates at Lowell will wait 6 years to get revenge on somebody.
Right. Don't let shit go.
Are we having fun? Hell yeah.
I'm Steph.
And I'm Kayla, and we're two best friends coping with life the only way we know how. One adventure and a cocktail at a time. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Are We Having Fun podcast. I'm your host, Kayla. Of course, we've been doing this for I don't know how long. Stephanie's here with me, and we're going to have yet another guest. Sometimes, most of the time. No.
Speaking of which, the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to be here. So.
What do you mean?
I'm going to be in the Azores. It came.
Oh, yeah.
I leave next Thursday. Literally,
She's
I'm recording
finally
it.
going to the Azores, guys.
I've been talking about it for 6 months.
Okay, that's where the podcast started. Wow, just a drunk travel podcast. Now, finally, you're taking a break to travel.
I'm pretty sure I booked those tickets when I was drunk too. So it really just like keeps it all together. You know?
Oh, what a time. So before we get started, make sure you guys go on IMDb and rate us 10 stars. Also subscribe to our new website. I finally got our domain.
Yay!
And I made it look professional. I didn't just put some brown backdrop that we had. I don't know what was happening. Okay.
You can get it off of Wix.com.
Subscribe because we're going to, try to connect with you guys on our website. I feel like that's the most all-encompassing way. It's really hard to keep up with like 10,000 different social media platforms. So the websites are all in one place where you can get everything to do with Are We Having Fun? So Stephanie said she made a fun little drink tonight. So I'm excited to hear
it's not fun at all. It's just wine.
Oh, okay.
But I have a drink. I think the last 2 weeks I didn't have a drink. Or maybe I was drinking water. I don't know.
She's off the cleanse and she's back on her bullshit.
I'm back.
I'm just kidding.
I just have a Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay, but like show it.
Lovely. It's in a paper cup. We're really classy. Okay, this is a coffee cup, actually.
Okay, so in opposite of her, I have a legit whiskey glass, and I did a little concoction. I had the this old fashioned mix with Knob Creek in it, but I also wanted to add a little of this Keeper's Heart whiskey that is local to Minneapolis. I've been repping them lately. Ooh. So I wanted to throw an extra splash in. And then I figured out, okay, there's already whiskey in the old fashioned mix, and I added more whiskey. So then I added club soda to tone it down a little bit because it is, straight up just whiskey in there. But I thought that was also a good pick because it has heart in the name. And I'm going to let Stephanie take it away with the description of our guest and why that is related.
All right. So today we have Rex Seaton. He's a United States Marine and a developmental actor and producer. His most recent accomplishments, are starring in Harvey and Legacy of Love. And he is currently building up his nonprofit Heart Sent Heroes. So, hey, Rex, how are you doing?
Good. How are y'all?
Good.
Doing good.
I was gonna make one.
Yeah,
make it.
Yes, please.
Let's hear it. Shake it right in front of me.
I don't have. It was just gonna be a Jack and Coke, but
you could still do it.
Better than what we have. So happy to have you today.
Yes,
of course, I'm happy to be here.
We got like 2 or 3 actors on the show now. It's so sick. We also love dogs. We love dogs.
That's perfect. That's good.
We stand dogs on this show. So
you can hear mine at least twice during all of this.
Guests are always like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and I'm like, don't worry. My cat's going to like walk on camera, or her dogs are going to come play fetch. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
I actually took my cat out because she's been very talkative lately. So I was like, you can,
Yeah, they tend to.
But then she starts meowing at the door, right? She's going to be like pounding on it.
Love it. My cat's probably going to do that too. So we have a lot of questions for you. So let's just get right on into it.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions already. I've only read one line and I already have questions. You were in the military. Okay, well, first of all, I think I started this out last time. How old are you? I know this is kind of rude.
No, that's okay. I'm 26 years old.
Okay, because that kind of plays into it. Because if you're in the military and now you kind of switched it up and you're following the actor route, like you've done a lot in a short amount of time, it seems like. So tell us about that, like the transition between those two.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of interesting. When I graduated high school, I kind of drove up and down the East Coast. I lived out of my PT Cruiser for about 6 months, just doing like extra gigs, PA stuff. Because I've been doing this since I was 4. I knew this was a career that I wanted to get into, but I also knew that it was, one of the hardest things to be successful at. So, but about 6 months into the journey, because my whole family is military, and I knew I was going to do it eventually. But about 6 months in the journey, I decided I, wanted to serve, and I knew if I didn't do it right then, I'd probably never do it. So I came back home and I actually auditioned for the Navy band. I auditioned for French horn. Yeah. Because I'm a band geek too. So I've been in musicals and everything since like the 5th grade. I can.
Would you grow up playing? Oh, okay. You're about to say it.
So no. See, reading our mind. You're reading my mind. So I started in 5th grade in chorus. I can't sing though, so they put me on percussion. So I started in like the bongos. And then like middle school through high school, I learned every brass instrument, high and low, every percussion instrument. And then I dabbled on the saxophone. So
dang,
I'm pretty well versed.
I feel like it's like you're speaking different languages. You're just like, one wasn't good enough. Well, first of all, chorus wasn't for me. So let me just do every single other one to make up for it.
Yeah, seriously. Just to really stick it to that teacher that moved you.
Yeah, it was fun. But so I auditioned for the Navy, and then I went to MEPS, which is like their medical examining process. And they found out that I had 2 heart diseases. Granted, I had already known that, but I was like,
right. Maybe they won't.
Yeah. So they found out, and so they're not bad. Like I have a heart murmur and a heart arrhythmia, but they're very, like they don't affect my everyday life. But according to the military, those are 2 diseases that automatically disqualify you from any military service.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, that sucks. So I tried to go for the Army, and they also said same thing. So I was like, okay, well, last shot, because I'm not even going to try for the Air Force, because no, I'm not about that life.
Okay.
So I tried for the Marines. They sent me to MEPS, and like the doctor like listened to my heart, and then he listened to my stomach, and then he went back to my heart, and I was like, here we go, And then he was like, all right, you're good, going on. And 7 days later, I was in boot camp. So did he know it was there, and he just kind of swept it under the rug, or was he just don't know. So according to my military medical records, I don't have one.
Okay. Right? And that's good enough for them.
So the Navy doesn't make like a note like, hey, he tried to join, but he has this.
So I think it's.
I figured that would be like a common thing to do. I don't know.
I think it's. It might be like a HIPAA violation for them to like look into that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Or maybe the Navy just didn't mark it on my actual medical records, and the Marines don't care, which is funny because the Marines are actually a part of the Navy.
Yeah, I was just going to say. It's funny how you like circled around like that. I come from military background too, and that's why I was laughing so hard at Air Force, because I get it. It's like a little rivalry between the different. Yeah. And I like hearing your line that you went through.
I love all my brothers and sisters in the military, but everybody knows which branch is the best. I'll just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Leave it to speculation.
We got some military people listening in on this. So
yeah, so I did that for 4 years. My job was in 1833 is like the MOS code, but it's basically I drove a tank that can drive on the water.
Wow.
So I did that for 4 years, and then I got out in 2019, beginning of 2019, basically. Didn't know what to do, so I joined law enforcement. I became a correctional officer at a women's prison here in Ocala, Lowell. Awful.
I was going to say, how is that? Because I watched 60 Days In on Netflix, and that shit looks rough. I would not want to be anywhere near that.
So it's weird, because my main prison was Lowell, but like they have 3 connected prisons, which is Lowell, Marion, and the reception center. They're kind of like you could transfer, wherever. Mm-hmm. And there's not enough employees, like not at all. So you have people like working 3, 4, 16-hour shifts in a row just to keep,
Wow.
And I have to say, because I did a little bit of time at Marion, and not in the actual prison aspect, but the other side of the gate, I guess. And the women are way worse. Wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Because they're like catty, right? They're kind of like bitchy, and that's even worse.
They're Florida women.
And in Ocala, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So also, like Lowell, if I'm not mistaken, Lowell is the biggest women's prison in the country.
Oh wow.
And there's like serial
sense.
killers there. There is like all kinds of just bad people. But the difference is like the inmates at Lowell will wait 6 years to get revenge on somebody.
Right.
The men
don't let shit go.
The men either just fight it out or kill one another, like instantly, Right.
So but you know what you're dealing with versus like.
Yeah, it's like in Lowell, you never really know, because they can be sweethearts to your face, but scheming wholeheartedly how to slit your throat.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you never really know. So you have to
crazy.
be, like I always treated them with respect, which is why I think I was always cool. Like they liked me. They didn't mind me. But I never, like, they were never my friend. They were still inmates. They were still people that
you had your boundaries.
Broke the law. Exactly. Right. But it was a fun experience. But then, so at this time, I was technically still in the military. It's called reserves. And I got deployed to Japan, Mount Fuji, Korea, and the Philippines. And then when I came back, I asked Lowell for like 2 weeks off, which legally I was allowed like 90 days or something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. But they said no. They cussed me out and, basically were like, yeah, no, you don't have any more days off, so you have to come back. So I just quit on the phone. I was like, yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, wait, you could have asked for 3 months and you tried to say 2 weeks and they said, fuck you.
Yeah, because
and they were already short staffed, so really they're the ones that are losing.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And at the time, I was only getting paid like 13 something an hour to work there.
God.
So it was like, it was okay pay, but
not for
that.
No,
not for possible throat slit. No.
Like maybe
exactly. Yeah.
Maybe for working in a restaurant, but like
Yeah, no. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna take this as a sign to do what I wanted to do, which is this, acting. So I just started my own production company.
Nice.
And then shortly following, the nonprofit. So
awesome. So tell us a little bit about the production company. Like, what came first with that? Was it like the project or the company, or like how did you get that ball rolling?
So it started with a YouTube channel with a couple buddies of mine, like in high school. Mm-hmm. And originally we were
okay. Yeah.
Did not take off.
No, mine didn't either. So originally we were called Comical Whoremongers. Like, so we started the YouTube during like the big prank era. It's just a prank. So we would go to places and Yeah, they would go to places and
Classic.
play pranks on a bunch of people.
That's taken off still today.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But then, we started getting into making short films for YouTube, which is still a big thing nowadays, but that kind of like skyrocketed the acting career. And then once we started doing that, we kind of all, the friend group, came together and were like, Comical Whoremongers isn't really a professional name. If we do blow up eventually and want to create our own movies, that's probably not a great name to be attached to them. So we like brainstormed and we came up with Non-Science Productions. Somehow, I'm still not exactly sure how we came up with that. But we have two phrases for the company, and one of them is always sticking up for the little guy, because my company's main goal is to bring awareness to inspiring actors, independent actors, musicians, and my whole goal with it was basically, if I'm in a big production and we have, a bunch of people auditioning for a role and Ryan Reynolds walks in to audition, and he does great. But then this no name, quote unquote, walks in and he blows him out of the water, performance wise. I want to choose the no name over Ryan Reynolds.
Of course.
Like, I want to be in that position where financially I can do that, because right now Hollywood's like, it doesn't really matter if the movie's good. Let's just put a bunch of faces and names that people know and we'll make money.
Oh, definitely. That's my thought for every Kevin Hart movie. Don't come for me.
Hey, you know what though? He probably made those movies himself. So that's, sometimes you
with his millions, I don't think that's that hard.
sometimes you got to write yourself into a movie or 2 or 3 or 10 years worth. Or
I think you should just stick to comedy, live shows. But that's cool. So what phase is your company in right now? Like, did you guys just start it, or are you kind of like starting out, getting some movies going? What's phase is it in?
We do have some movies under our belt. I'm actually, like, we have a website. We don't only do movies. We do weddings, we do photography, photo shoots.
Oh, nice.
We kind of do, the whole kind of productions
whatever makes
aspect.
Money.
Exactly. Yeah. But right now I'm currently in the process of 3 feature films and 2 TV shows that we're attached to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one of which I can't say too much, which is currently possibly Lionsgate and Stars is interested in.
Good.
So, yeah.
That's going to be a good production. Then they always
when that does come out, you need to shoot it our way so we can push that out there
100%.
as a callback.
100%.
We'll be at all the press events. We'll be there every step of the way.
I'll make
awesome.
sure you'll have tickets for sure.
Yes.
Nice.
So question, kind of jumping off of your production company, are you trying to stay centered in Florida? Because there's like kind of a really cool like community of like filmmakers in Florida that's kind of like underrated in a way, like there's a lot going on and then there's nothing going on all at once. And I say that as somebody who is in Minnesota now, and I never really understood just how much like opportunity I had starting out being in Florida.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in staying in Florida. I utilize for my films, I utilize a lot of very small old towns and communities. Because my goal is to bring awareness and bring money to these smaller towns that are struggling, towns like Reddick, Citra, Hawthorne, nobody knows about them, but they're tiny, and literally all they need is that little bit of tourism to bring the streets back up to be good to go, bring in more businesses, which more businesses bring money, and money brings more jobs, right? So my goal, like, I have a much bigger picture than just making movies, obviously.
Yeah.
But Florida it's like on its own in its own universe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because it's like you have parts of Florida where you can go to and it's like there is absolutely nothing going on.
Right.
Like nothing. There's like one grocery store and it's actually just a Dollar General within like a 15-mile radius,
Yeah.
And then you go 20 miles out and you have 50,000 people in homes side by side, with billions of dollars. So it's like it's weird. But I want to I'd like to bring more independent film attraction to Florida, because obviously we have Disney and Universal, but they don't even film here.
No, barely.
They have big studios here, but they don't even film.
Yeah. It's like once in a blue moon.
Yeah, like nothing is filmed in Florida, actually. Even things that are like, even if the movie is based in Florida, it films in like Bahamas or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, or they go to Cali. Yeah. It never makes sense. And it's funny because it's like the only setting you probably couldn't get in Florida is the desert. But everything else you could get.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. That's so interesting because it's, we're on our own journey as well. And so it's nice to like hear from like a production standpoint, because a lot of the people we talk to are, they're in any industry really, but they all have like their different missions, and it's nice to talk to somebody kind of on the same side as us, because this is a war zone. I'm kidding. Okay.
He's doing like philanthropic work. I feel like he's like trying to. Was that a good word?
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, we're getting there. We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Right now, we literally started in the last 7 months. So we finally have like a solid foundation, and I'm going out to California, so I'll be the person connecting with all those traditional Hollywood people so that we can come to Florida and like film something, back and forth. But it's just
steps,
like nice
to,
it's just nice to like hear what other companies are doing, because everybody's got their own little like projects, and like you said, like philanthropic, their own mission, which we want to get into a little bit of that actually. I feel like that's a perfect segue into your foundation that you're starting. So from what we've heard, it is to help veterans with PTSD. Is that right? Your network is talking about you, by the way.
Yeah. It's a little more than that, but so the main goal of Heart Sent Heroes is basically we bring in abandoned, neglected, and abused animals, and we basically bring them back to health, and we give them either emotional support training or some sort of service training. A lot of rescue animals are very hard to fully service train. You need to start that at like a very young age and kind of work that into them. But we do our best to push more of an emotional support, right? So we like to help veterans, first responders, and their family members, which realistically branches out to almost everybody.
Right, right.
Because one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people forget about when dealing with veterans, and as one, I can say this, is everybody forgets about the family members, right? It's terrible to lose your husband, your son, your wife, your daughter at war, or to 22 a day suicide, something in the military. But what people don't realize is the 6 to 9 months you're away at war, or not even war, just deployment in general, your wife and your family are at home dealing with the abandonment as well, and what people don't see is, like, when I get deployed, I'm with my brothers. I'm with a family.
Right.
Still.
Right.
But I'm leaving my family home, and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though I might not be on a combat deployment, it's still dangerous, and they don't know what I'm doing. People die in training accidents all the time.
Yeah.
So people don't think about the trauma and I wouldn't necessarily go as far as saying PTSD, but the trauma and the depression and all the things that your family has to go through still being at home.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And even for little kids, like who have to have their dad go away, you know, like, especially at like a big point in their life when they're like a teen or something, you need like that father figure, you know? So that must be definitely tough.
And there's so many like abandonment issues that they don't even, it's not the dad's or mom's fault, but the kid, you know, at 4 or 5 years old, you just think that your dad or mom is gone. Like, you don't understand that they're going to come back most likely. You just think you were abandoned. So now these kids are growing up with abandonment issues and possibly blaming their parent or siblings. And, you know, that's a form, you know, that's one of the things that's honestly mostly what we give these animals to is people with abandonment issues and chronic, you know, severe depression. And it's a feeling that I could not explain, giving somebody a dog and seeing that dog feel the happiness that they get from holding it and the smiles, like the happiness that radiates off of people when they feel that love, that unconditional love from an animal. I can't explain it. Like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Yeah. Like it's insane.
Also the fact that your foundation is like twofold like that, like you're helping an animal, but you're also helping the veterans. I love that. I feel like so many foundations are very like, you know, we only have this thing. You're helping both sides of it, which is awesome. And how can how can fans of our podcast like help out? Is there any way that we can like donate to help the cause or visit a link, sign anything?
Not yet. But I am in the process of building a website for it.
Perfect.
It's just, so the actual 501c3 aspect of it is a long process.
Yeah, I bet.
Because the government has to make sure that they can't just hand out a bunch of tax exempt paperwork. And as of right now, we are a legal 501c3. Like we are legal. We went through LegalZoom, which was phenomenal. But there's still like a couple obstacles I'm jumping over before I fully say, you know, hey, go ahead and donate and
all that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, we'd love to also get updates about that, especially like if you end up doing like a fundraiser or like an event where, you know, you set up somewhere, then, you know, we'd love to like come back and like plug it for you, of course.
Oh, 100%. I'll keep y'all updated on everything.
We love animals and we love humans. So this is perfect.
Animals a little bit more. But
animals way more than, no, I'm kidding. Okay. So anyway, I know like we write down these questions for you and I skipped one for Stephanie. So I'm going to go back and read that. And then Stephanie, I'm going to let you take over again. Cause that was just the perfect segue. But I did read your IMDb and you had a really nice like biography about me section. And it said that, yes, you traveled up and down the coast and you were playing music, being an extra, and also that you specifically mentioned that you were a drummer. Okay. So what we need to know is, besides the Navy band, were you playing music, like, I don't want to say on the streets, but like, you know, were you playing music in a independent band? And what genre do you go
to? Yes. I was actually in a band from my sophomore year of high school up until I joined the military, basically. I was still in the band when I joined, and I had full understandings to go back to that band. But then there was like, when I joined, our lead singer joined, and then our bassist joined. And it was just like one of those things that like, you know.
Yeah.
But we were a heavy metal band. Screamo heavy metal.
God.
I at the time had a 13-piece set. Wow. 13-piece drum set. That I actually made myself out of a bunch of other cheap drum sets that I found. Like,
you like customized.
Yeah, so I got one 5-piece drum set, which is like your standard, for putting a fence in a lady's backyard. Like I put her whole fence up, dug it, concrete, whole nine, just to get her drum set so that I could start playing. That was about 3 days of work, and it was easily, like she should have paid me way more than what the drum set was worth. But at the time, I didn't really, I was just an able-bodied kid that wanted to play drums,
Yeah.
So
she's like, what am I going to do with drums? I'm old. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, so we were a heavy metal band that we had about 3 songs that we were trying to record for a while, but we honestly did a lot of cover stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
that's how you start out.
Yeah. So at our high school, we used to have something called the Relay for Life, which was basically this.
we know all about that.
That's
one.
when Kayla and I first really became friends.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So one year, my junior year of high school, our band was actually chosen to play for like 6 hours at the Relay of Life.
6 hours.
So
they took advantage of you. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They definitely did. Which we were fine because everybody in the band was a bunch of band geeks. So we would play like 5 or 6 songs that the crowd wanted to hear, because they all wanted to hear like hip hop songs, and it's typically like between 2 chords. It's like 4 chords, and we listen to the song one time, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's go, and we'll do it. We do that, and then we would just improv for like 45 minutes. We just I would play a beat. Yeah, I would play a beat and a tempo, and then we would go around like guitarist, bassist, rhythm guitar, drummer, and doing solos.
Yeah,
we would just kind of go around.
Stephanie hosts some jams sometimes, so maybe you ought to step in there sometime.
And when you come back, Kayla, just have it.
When I come back,
we're just gonna have a big jam session.
I had to smile when I had to ask what genre, because Stephanie and I are always surrounded by music, but it's funny that you mentioned Relay for Life playing in high school and you're in a screamo band, because Stephanie and I got to know each other at Relay for Life. That was like the best party we could ever have as freshmen.
You don't know who your real friends are until you see them the morning after Relay for Life.
And you go to Peach
everybody's dead from staying up all night.
Go eat a parfait the next day and then crash for the next 12 hours. I think I bought
a plant, and I was walking around with a potted plant. Shit happens at Relay for Life.
And then another part of our high school growing up in Florida was, I don't think Stephanie was here for that, but everybody's cliques kind of intermingled at our school. And I was in the wannabe punk rocker, screamo metal groupie scene. I don't know what to call that. Stephanie's laughing.
I know the people that you're talking about.
You know the people. So
said people had their own screamo band.
So they had their own,
and they got pretty big. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So they had their own screamo. Okay. So what
was the name of the band?
I don't know. I don't know. But this guy's name was Martin specifically. I think because I think of him because every girl was jealous of his long straight hair. His long straight hair that was bright red, just like yours. Okay. And we would go watch him at these battle of the bands that would be between the high schools in our area. And what's up? Cheering our friends on. And, he had a band and somebody else had a band. And sometimes they would play together. And it was this whole scene in our area. And then we'd go to school the next day and we'd be in English class together. And it's dude, it was wild. The people were crazy at our school. They were the most fun people though. Just hysterical to watch because they were always just trying to have a good time, which is,
and then to see where everyone is now, it's damn.
Yeah. And then I would go and play soccer with his sister. And she was total opposite, popular
but
girl.
He was a black sheep.
And but it was almost its own clique.
I also don't think he wore anything else besides black. I don't think I ever saw him in a color.
They probably weren't allowed to. I mean, I'm kidding. No, it was a really good time.
It was a good time.
That was a great throwback. Just thinking of that. So definitely bring your band back because rock is back. So.
It is.
It is. I definitely approve.
I want to know about, so you and Kayla just played opposite of each other in a short film, right? So tell us about that. Like, how did you get the part? What was the process of it? How did you guys like working with each other? Spill the tea.
The truth comes out. I'm just kidding.
So how I got the part actually was I worked with her mom on, I think, like 2 other projects before. So I hadn't actually spoken with her in months. So she messages me on Instagram one day and is like, hey, we have this character and we want you to audition for him. And I was like, okay, shoot, why not? So and she told me at first it was just supposed to be a voiceover role. Like I was literally supposed to be a voiceover. So I was like, do you want me to do just a voiceover audition or do you want me to videotape it? And she was like, go ahead and videotape it. So I was like, all right, cool. So I have, my whole, it's a ghetto backdrop, but it's a backdrop, And so I record it really quick and I send it in and almost immediately I get told that I got the part. And also that they're changing it from a voiceover to I'm going to be on screen. Almost instantaneously.
Upgrade.
Yeah. So, we start talking and everything. And before I get on set, Michael, the director, messages me and it's like, hey, I want you to be in character all the time to Kayla. So my character was a narcissistic, abusive, just straight up piece of shit, right?
Damn.
Which I had never experienced acting like that.
Right.
So it was a slightly new process, but I at this time I never knew of Kayla, like not even any idea.
Right.
So I was like, I usually like to be
he was that piece of shit to you?
Yeah, in real life. In real life, he was told.
Yeah.
In real life, he was told before.
In the realm of like, I've been getting a lot of psychopath, serial killer.
I love me a good murder show.
Me too. I
Send
love
that to
characters.
me. I love it. I just watched like 4 Hulu shows right now.
Yeah, so actually the film that I'm working on mostly right now as an actor, which again, so I've been on SAG films, right? Like Harvey, like y'all said in the beginning, Harvey I was the supporting character on. That was a SAG film, internationally distributed. But right now I'm working on an independent film. And the first day on set, I wasn't even filming. I just wanted to be on set because I do have obviously crew experience. Like I've been a DP, I've been a director, I've done everything behind the camera. But I just wanted to see how everything was flowing, make sure that the start of the production started correctly. Because I know how these independent sets can be. And I get there and everybody's just kind of, dilly-dallying around, chatting, not setting up lights, and it's like a long shoot. And I drove like 2 hours just to make sure that this was, going well. So I start like telling everybody, all right, let's go. Let's start moving, do this, do that. And then the producer / director goes, oh, by the way, Rex is the director. I'm co-director.
What?
What?
He just stepped down and made you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, which I was like, okay, that's fine. A little airball there, but whatever. I can manage that, which it ended up great. I had to work with a couple people, one of them being he was a kid and he was autistic. So I've worked with kids before and I've worked with autistic kids before. He wasn't like, I guess on a spectrum, he wasn't like that high. But in that film, I'm also the antagonist who is a serial killer with multiple personalities.
Oh, and was the kid was an actor and you had to like.
Yeah, so the kid played me when I was a kid in the movie.
I see.
And they actually found a kid, kind of looks like me, got bright red hair, which is nice because I always like seeing redheads get cast in films. But
as a psychopath. It's because you have no souls.
That's probably the main reason. They see red hair and they just think killer. Just
Perfect.
Automatically.
We don't even care how the audition goes. We got red hair.
What's funny is I didn't audition for this.
I was going to say that totally happens sometimes. I mean, usually they're good, but like, it could be a red hair thing. Like a preference to red hair.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it's great. I had a blast on the SUG though, because like I learned a lot. And like she said, Michael is really good at what he does.
Yeah. He's good at directing our like emotions on our actions.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The SUG is available on Fierce Orchid Productions YouTube. We're going to leave a link for that in the show notes. Super. I'm going to go watch that right after this. I hope all of you do too. How long is it? Question.
It's 6 minutes.
Yeah, like 6-7 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do that right now.
It's a short film.
You can watch it as you're like making a sandwich.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
Warming up some tea.
Good idea.
I don't know. Yeah.
So what is the next project, Rex? Like obviously without, putting out too many details. We don't want you to spoil anything, but like what's going on in your life coming up?
Okay. So I have a laundry list of next projects. One of the two of the biggest ones are I have a movie that I'm making that's called Tajriba, which is an Arabic word. It means the experiment.
Whoa.
And so basically, Tajriba.
Tajriba.
Okay. Yeah, Tajriba.
Ooh.
We actually have a website, tajribaseries.com. Originally, it was going to be a series, and then we started getting into production and raising money.
I was going to say the budgeting for, I learned about that too. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I started getting into raising money and spending money for a series. And 1 minute, I'm thinking, all right, cool, independent project, film it on the weekends, get it done over time. I'll spend a couple $100. Next thing I know, a year and a half later, I'm $10,000 into the business, and I'm like, okay, this is all right. We're changing it to a feature film. So its main goal for the feature film is to spread awareness on human trafficking, because a lot of people don't know, ironically, with kind of what's going on in the world right now, with the whole, I don't know how political you want to get on this project, but on this podcast, but with like the whole Roe versus Wade overturn, all that good stuff. Some states are banning contraception now, all this good stuff.
Right,
so
right.
It bleeds into human trafficking, right? Because a lot of people don't know this, but 50% of the children, and this was in 2018, it's probably more now, 50% of the children that were found to be human trafficked came from the foster care system by people that worked in the foster care system.
Whoa.
So CPS is actually trafficking.
Oh, so not even like the parents.
It's like
no. Yeah. Wow. So like CPS, the people that are supposed to protect abandoned children are trafficking
ones
selling them to sex trafficking.
Right.
Selling them as,
Well, I'm going to do more research on that because it's not
I haven't
like
heard that. That's interesting.
I haven't heard it, but it doesn't sound that far off. It would be like a prostitution ring is obviously another way that happens.
And of course, statistics, how much can you believe? Statistics are very, you don't know. So it might be lower, it might be higher. I don't know. But I know a lot of children get trafficked through the CPS system. And so like the main goal of that is to spread awareness on that. And it puts a slight science fiction spin.
The experiment.
And utilizes, so it utilizes, let me see, hold on. I'm twisting it in my head to not give away too much, right?
Right.
So,
but you could just say there's a science fiction twist to it. You can leave it there. We don't want to give it too much away.
A non-science twist.
A non-science.
There we go.
See what I did there?
We go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We tied it all together. That's hilarious.
I'm the queen of callbacks.
Well, that's so cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to see everything that you're going to do. I know you're going to let us know so we can like,
of course,
post that back out there. But also I'm just really excited. I don't know. Everything that you've said so far, I'm like,
yeah,
tell me more.
Yeah. See, Stephanie's jumping in. She's getting sucked into
I'm into this world.
She's getting sucked into
slowly.
our world.
Good. I'm glad.
And how can we stay connected with you? Do you want to like drop your Instagram handle or your website, whatever you want?
So you can pretty much find me anywhere, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok too, is all Rex Seaton. Just
spell that for us.
So it's REX, S as in Sierra, EA, T as in Tango, O, N as in November.
Perfect. And we'll put that in the show notes as well so that people can connect with you, follow your projects, all the good
I'm excited
stuff.
for these projects. Everybody should be excited.
Yeah, exactly. And, that leaves us with some food for thought for our own projects, because we are not stopping at the podcast, guys. Okay. So that means that you got to go check out our new website, awhfmedia.com, because first of all, we've already updated the website to show a couple creators that are already doing kind of their own series, but are also going to start their own series on social media. And that even includes Stephanie. She's going to start producing some content. So excited for her. But definitely go subscribe to our email list. And it's not like going to be a lot of emails. We haven't written any emails yet. So if you subscribe, don't worry, you're not going to get spammed, okay?
Subscribe to our email list.
email list. Oh,
email list.
wow.
Email list.
Email list. Okay. I can't say that anymore. It's messing with my brain. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on, Rex, because it's so funny to hear your side of how our film went, and also just like everything that you're doing. We love hyping up other creators, other creatives, other filmmakers. There's so many endless ways that we can label people, and everybody just has their cool twist on life. And definitely share your updates on your foundation with us as you progress
100%.
that. Yeah, because we would love to support that. Especially, like I said, having military and service in my family. Stephanie's very close to them as well. So that means a lot to us. So, of course, dogs too, of course. We love dogs.
I have police dogs, so see, it all ties back.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
They're not very, actually, they're pretty protective. I was going to say they're very loving.
They're very protective.
Yeah, they are.
It's scary. They bite people.
Yeah, they're working dogs, 100%.
Yeah.
They're assholes, but gotta love them.
Well, anyway, we'll catch y'all on the next episode of Are We Having Fun? Apparently, I'm going to be by myself for the next 2 weeks while Stephanie is living it up.
I'll send you pics.
I'll co-host.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to.
Filled in.
Every Thursday. All right. Well, bye. 2 weeks in a row. That's as good as it's going to get.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.